In this series, we'll be making a horror game from the ground up and teaching you everything along the way. From researching, theorizing, and prototyping, to main menus, UI, and sound. Join me and follow along to become the master game developer you want to be. Hello everybody and welcome back to making a horror game from scratch. Well, I made some mistakes in the last episode. It was not intentional, but I'm glad it happened because we're going to fix them together and we're going to learn why they were mistakes and how we're going to improve upon them. The first thing I wanted to show you, you do not have to follow along with this, is I thought that event begin play would not happen unless it was the very start of the level or whenever the engine finished loading whatever it happened to be loading. This is not the case, and what we're going to do to prove that is we're going to make a blueprint called begin play test. And I'm going to open this up here, and I'm just going to jump immediately into the event graph. And what we're going to do is we're going to create an event begin play, and out of that we're going to do a print string. Again, you do not have to make this if you don't want. We'll just leave it hello, compile, and save. And then I'm going to add an extra button, and I like to call this the debug button. So you can follow along with this if you'd like. I'm going to go to edit. We're going to go to project settings. And basically, I like to create a button that if I need to test something, I can just hit the button and it'll give me the answer I need. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment. Under action mappings, I'm just going to create a new one, and I'm just going to call this debug. I like to use some random number like numpad 9, so it's off on the side, and in case I forget to remove it, most people won't accidentally hit it. And then what I'm going to do is on my first person character, I'm simply going to add an event for that. So we'll type in debug, and we want to find the action event that we created right here. And when we press it, we want to spawn actor from class. And we are going to spawn in our begin play test, which is right here. So the reason we did this, spawn transform. Let's just get our character, or hit our character's mesh, get world transform, and we'll just spawn it on top of us because there's nothing in it anyway. So basically what's going to happen now to test this is I'm going to hit the spawn button, and it's going to do the begin play test. It's going to spawn one of these, and when it spawns, it will run begin play. So we're going to hit play. And watch, the top left of the screen, I'm going to hit 9, hello. And if you look on the right hand side under door BP, begin playtest spawned in. So we'll hit it again, hello, it spawned another one. So the reason I did that is to show you that event begin play does indeed happen if something spawns in. Thus, we're going to change our logic when the ghost spawns in. Okay. So, knowing this new logic, let's take a look at our parent ghost. We set up certain functions in the parent ghost, and I believe the level blueprint under the assumption we wouldn't be able to do this on begin play. So, we do not need to pick a ghost type anymore. So, your pick ghost type can be deleted. Your set available ghosts can be deleted. On the left-hand side, we can get rid of available ghosts and ghost types. We only need the game instance ref and the ghost type. We might add more later, but for now, compile and save. And let's go ahead and continue to clean up our mistakes. Honestly, all we need to do is get the event begin play. And for now, what we're going to do is we're going to drag out, and we're just going to go ahead and get the game instance ref, which I've already created the custom event for, and we're just going to go ahead and just type in begin play, comma, get game instance ref. I just like to use commas so I can read in order everything the event begin play is going to be doing. We'll go ahead and compile and save. So, with all of that fixed, let's talk about what we're going to do that's new today. So today we're going to do something exciting. We're going to spawn in our first ghost, have it choose either the left or the right path, and then have something in those quadrants that it can mess with. Let's get started. Go ahead and hit Control Space, and we're going to navigate over to our parent ghost. So now what we're going to do, because we have the parent ghost, is we're going to right click. We are going to go to Create Child Blueprint Class. It'll create a second blueprint here. And we're just going to call this one Ghost 1 because I forget the name that I had given the first ghost. So for now, Ghost 1 works. So I'm going to show you exactly how the parent to child relationship works. So if you see, we have get game instance ref in the parent ghost here. And not only do we have the custom event, but we have the variable. So if we go to ghost 1 and we go to event graph, you'll notice that it says event begin play, and it's also connected to parent begin play. This time we're not going to delete these two. We're only going to delete these bottom two. Now on the left hand side, you'll notice that in the variables tab, I don't have any. But that's not entirely true. If I were to right click in the event graph here and type in game instance ref, look, not only do we have access to the event that we created in the function, we also have the variable. I can get the game instance ref and have access to it, regardless of the fact that it is not present in our event graph because it is being inherited from the parent. This is going to be incredibly useful as we continue going forward, but for now, what we're going to do for Ghost 1 is we need it to, once it spawns, immediately pick a path and go down it. So what we're going to do is head over to the viewport. Now the reason we want to go to the viewport is because while we're debugging, we need to be able to see this. Normally you're not going to be able to see the ghost, but for debugging it's important. Go ahead and click on the capsule component, and on the right hand side at the top in the search bar, type in hidden. You'll see that the rendering has hidden in game and it's checked. If we uncheck this, we will be able to see its capsule component from in the game. This will help with debugging and making sure things are working properly. Back over in the event graph, what we're going to do is create a custom event, and we're going to call this choose path. And with that, we will now have another issue with the logic we've created. If we were to try to access the level blueprint from our ghost, we're not going to be able to do it. If we were to pull out of this and type in level blueprint, nothing pops up. If I were to right click and type in level blueprint, again, nothing pops up. From these blueprints that we're creating, we're not going to be able to access the level blueprint, which is an issue because this is where we're creating the paths. So instead, I'm going to show you an alternative way to create a system like this, so that way our blueprints can have access to it. There's probably 100 ways we could go about this, but I'm going to show you a specific way. One, because it's how I choose to do it, and two, I just recorded all of it, it's completed, and I didn't hit the record button, so I lied to you. I guess I never did record it. I'm going to go over it now. First thing you want to do is head over to your viewport here. Ignore the green. We'll get to that. God, why didn't I record? I'm so mad. Okay. We're going to use something called tags so we can find our quadrants in the Ghost BP and create the path that we want to go down. Go ahead and click on your northwest quadrant, and on the right hand side in the search, type in the word tag. if yours is empty like this, make sure you have the BP selected and not the default scene root. So click the top one if it's empty, or I guess yours will be empty regardless. This is what happens when you record already. Just make sure you have BP selected. I'm so sorry. You're going to see tags like this, and it'll say 0 array elements. Go ahead and hit plus on the add element. It'll have a drop-down menu now. And change the first element to NW for northwest. I'm going to click through these now, and you'll see that on this one, I made it west. At the top right, I made it northeast. And on the right, I made it east, to indicate where each one of these is located by adding a tag to them. Then, within the parent ghost, I created a get path custom event. I believe we started in Ghost 1 with that, but you can go ahead and delete it, and we're going to move over to the parent ghost to do this. So, we have a get path custom event, and what I did from there is I pulled out and I got a switch on int. I'll show you what that looks like because yours is going to look different. The switch on int starts by looking like this. What I did was I simply hit add pin twice, and you'll note that 0 and 1 appears, and then I right click default and I removed the execution pin. To get 0 or 1, to choose a random number, I right clicked and I typed in random integer, make sure you spell it right, in range. And that gave me this box here that I plugged in to the selection. However, make sure your minimum is 0 and your maximum is 1. So therefore, it'll pick either 0 or 1, and then execute either 0 or 1 from here, which you'll see I have set up right here. Coming into 0, I have it choosing the west path. I right-clicked and I said, get all actors of class with tag. Actors of class with tag. For the actor class, I chose our quadrant BP, and for the tag, I typed in northwest. So that way, it will get, if we go back to the viewport, the northwest quadrant BP, because it's the only one with the northwest tag assigned to it. It gives us an array. However, we know that it's only going to get this one actor. So I just simply pulled out of the array and typed in get, and it should say get a copy. You'll click that, and we want array element 0, because we know there's only going to be one element, so we just need the first one out of the array. On the left-hand side, I then created a variable, and I named it path. The variable type was, again, quadrant BP, and I right-clicked to make it an array. I pulled path out, as you can see here, and from the array, I drug out and I typed in add. I took the get and I plugged it into the bottom, or the thing that we're adding. I then grabbed all three of these, I copied and pasted over here. Oh, I accidentally messed that up by messing around. Plug mine back in there. So all four of these, and pasted over here, but instead I changed the tag to just be west. Why? Because this one's northwest, this one is west, or W in this case. So now in the array, it starts with NW and then moves to W. I then took all of this, copied it, pasted it, plugged it into one here, and changed the tag to northeast and east. And that is what I did in the video that I forgot to record. Well, almost everything. Then go ahead and go up to the top here, drag this out, and from the event begin play, after the getting the game instance ref, we are going to type in get path to run that code, and get us the path that we're going, and we will compile and save. I hope I explained that well enough. I never want to have pre-made work. However, in this case, it was already done, and I didn't want to delete it all, so I apologize. So what this does is it sets the array up so the ghost will know in which order to visit the quadrants, but the ghost is never told to move, nor does it know how to move. So we're going to use AI to teach it how to move. We're going to go back to the viewport, and we are going to add something called, if you go up here to the quickly add to the project, the drop-down menu, and you go to volumes, you want the nav mesh bounds volume. Drag that onto your map and get it as center as possible. See, you'll see mine's right about here. You just want it roughly the center. Once it's roughly centered, go ahead and hit R on your keyboard and scale this thing up so it encompasses the whole map. Like you'll see mine encompasses the whole map, both vertically, horizontally, and those are the only two, so the list ends there. Once you've done that, if you go above your map and look down and press P on the keyboard, you'll see everywhere the AI is allowed to go. That nav mesh is basically showing the AI, hey, this is terrain that you have access to and that you're capable of not only getting to, but fitting in. And that is what this is. And we finally caught up to where I realized I wasn't recording, so I can finally work with you guys again. We now need to add a spawn location for the ghost, and then we'll teach it how to move around. So hit Control Space, and you'll see we have something called Spawn Location BP. We created this whenever we thought that Begin Play wasn't going to work, but it does, so we're just going to change how this works completely. Go ahead and open it up. Yours probably has stuff in here. Delete all of it. Just grab it all, delete it, get a nice clear slate, and even over here, click on Box and delete it as well. Compile and save. That's all we need spawn location to be, and I'll show you why momentarily. Let's go ahead and go back to our viewport. And I want my ghost to spawn over here at the end of this hallway. So I'm going to drag spawn point and just put it right about there. So that way, this is where the ghost will spawn and start heading down its path. Okay. So we have all of our pieces set up. We have the ghost knowing what path to take when it spawns. We have a nav mesh so the ghost will know where it can go and cannot go. However, we don't have something that will keep track of how many ghosts are in the map at one time. So therefore, it will never spawn ghosts. Basically, we don't have anything in control. Right now, the map exists as it is and will never change. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our blueprints and we're going to go to systems. We're going to create a new system by right-clicking and going to blueprint class. It's going to just be an actor, and we're going to call this, normally I just name this after the game, but since we don't have a name for this game, I'm just going to call this Ghost Game System. You can call it whatever you like. This is just a preferential thing. And go ahead and just put Ghost Game System into the map. This is what's going to control the flow of the game and figure out if we've won, if we've lost, if there's enough ghosts on the map, if it needs to spawn a ghost, everything. This is the brain that we're about to program. It's going to be very simple at first, though, because we just want to check and see if our ghost system is working. So let's go ahead and hit Control Space and open up the Ghost Game System. We don't need anything in this. Just go straight to the event graph. We're going to delete all three and then hit P and click to get another event begin play. So in this case, for now, all we want to do on event begin play is drag out and hit create, or I'm so sorry, spawn actor from class. The class is going to be ghost1, and it needs a spawn location. So actually, we're going to create a little space between these two. And from event begin play, we're going to, oh, I am so sorry. We're going to do something we've done already. We're going to get all actors of class. But this time we don't need it tagged. We just need the actors. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the spawn location BP. There's only one, so we know that we can pull out of this and type in get, click on get a copy, and we know that the first one on the list will be the one we need because it's the only one that exists. Plug this into spawn actor ghost1, and from this object we need to get world transform, which will be the default scene root. It'll create this little system of nodes here. It can get a little messy, but we're going to do our best to make it as clean as possible. And we're going to plug that into the spawn transform. So it's happening. As soon as we start, it's going to create a ghost at this, or I'm so sorry. As soon as this starts, it's going to find the spawn location, and it's going to tell this node where to spawn ghost 1. So now we are spawning in a ghost when the level starts. However, as you can see, it gets the path, it spawns in, it even has a nav mesh, but it's missing one more key component. The command to do the thing, which is move around. So we're almost there. In the parent ghost, we are going to right click and we're going to create a custom event. We'll call it go down path. We're going to get path from the left there. We are going to add one more variable, and it's going to be called current path point. And it's just going to be an integer. And right click to make sure it's not an array. Current path point does not need to be an array. What we're going to do out of path is we're going to type in get a copy. And we're going to get current path point. And we're going to plug it in to the array index. So that way, if this ever ends up being a really long path, like let's say we had a bunch of quadrants on a different map, we're going to create the system to support that ahead of time instead of going back and trying to fix it. So when we go down path, we're going to get whatever the first one is because this will be default 0. And we're going to get world location of do the default scene route, not the box. Again, it'll give you a couple of nodes here. Pull out and get AI move to and click it. And you'll get what seems like a complicated thing, but I promise it is not. What we're going to do is call this function, get whatever quadrant is next, get its world location, and we're going to tell this AI to move to that destination. And the pawn, pull out of that and just type in self for get a reference to self, because it's always going to be targeting itself as the thing that it wants to move. Perfect. For now, what we'll do is on fail, we're going to want this. In case it does fail, we're going to want to know that it did. So on fail, what you're going to do is you're going to drag out of that and type in the word print. And you want print string. And on movement result, plug that in to the in string. And it'll give you this little converter box. It's fine. So now if it does fail, we will have the reason why on screen for us to read. And if it's successful, we are going to delay for 5 seconds. So that way it sits there for a moment. And after it sits there for a moment, we are going to get the current path point. We need to add 1 to it, right? Because we're going to the next one. So drag out of there and type in add. We're adding 1. And then pull current path point out again, but this time press set. So we are getting the current path point, adding 1 to it, and then setting it again. And then guess what we're going to do? We are going to go down path again. And so basically this is going to infinitely wait 5 seconds, go to the next path. Wait 5 seconds, go to the next path. However, we could get errors here. And the reason we're going to get errors here is because eventually there's no more quadrants in our path. So let's go ahead and fix that ahead of time. Essentially, on this get, you know what? It doesn't matter. This is mostly for testing anyway. We can leave this here for now. It's going to work. Compile, save, and after all that work, are you ready to see your first ghost move around? Go to the security office, hit that freaking play button, and if we look out the door, we should see... Uh-oh. Oh, you know what? You know what the problem is? Hold on. I'll show you what the problem is. We need to go to Ghost, go to the viewport. Did I not make this? I did. We did unhide this, which means that it's not spawning. Interesting. Unless it's falling. It could very well be falling through the map. So what we're going to do, because I think it's falling, is drag this up. Let's hit play. Make sure. Was that the problem? That was the problem. So you can see him over there, but he's not moving. And if you look at the top left, you'll note that we're not getting a print string, letting us know that it's failing, which means that the code is not getting an error and we're not getting a move issue. So we need to figure out why the ghost is never receiving the command to move to begin with. And if I had to guess, yep, it's right up here. Event begin play within the parent ghost gets the game ref and it gets the path, but it never go down path. Compile, save, play. Now let's check it out. So he's not moving again, and we're not getting any errors at the top left. So what's happening here? Again, it appears as though he's never receiving a reason or a path to go down. We're getting all these or these. So, oof. What I want to do is I'm going to show you how to debug something. We're going to hit play. We see he spawns and he never receives an order to move. We're receiving no errors and no print screens. So our logic somewhere is not an error, but doesn't make sense. So what we need to do is add print strings to a lot of stuff to make sure our logic even makes sense. So what I'm going to do is at the end of west and east path, we are going to create a print string like this on both of them. And first off, let's just make sure we even get a hello. So now we know, because we got the hello there at the top left, I'll do it again in case you missed it. We know for a fact that this code is being ran. However, now what we want to do is stretch this out just a little bit more, take these two print screens, bring them all the way down, And from path, we're going to do a for each loop. Copy, put it up here too. Plug in path. It doesn't have to look pretty. Debugging doesn't have to look pretty, so don't worry too much. And basically what this is going to do is for each element in this array, I want you to print screen it so that way I know that this array is being filled up with the quadrants. Let's see. Okay, west and northwest. So therefore, we know for a fact that this set of code works. I hope you understand what I did there and why. So now we know that there's no errors, and we know that it is indeed filling out the path. However, what is going on so that the AI move to isn't working? What I'm going to do here is, regardless of success or failure, I want it to tell me that it's even being told to move at all. So from the top one here, we're going to print string and just put it on hello. So therefore, if we get a hello, we know that the code at least made it to the AI move to. Let's check it out. It did. Okay. So now we know that at least up to here is working successfully. However, the ghost never fails because we're not getting a print string on the fail, and it never gets there, so it never succeeds, which is creating an interesting dilemma, I must say. I'm wondering if it is the default scene root being high in the air. I don't think so, though, because that's one of the reasons you make the nav mesh tall. But just in case, let's move it to the floor. Let's see if it's the AI being mad that it's in the air like that. Play. Yeah, it's still not moving, so that is not the issue. Let's check our event begin play one last time. We are getting the path, and we are going down the path. We are getting path 0.1 or 0 in this case, and we are getting its world location, which is where we're supposed to be moving to. The pawn, of course, being self, which is the ghost one that's spawning. And this is on event begin play, which means it should be firing off. In fact, we know it's firing off because we did a print from here. I'm going to do a cut, and I'll get back with you in a moment. I just remembered the issue. What we need to do is go to the parent ghost. Over on the left where it says character movement, go ahead and click on that. And to go ahead and explain what's going on is there are two ways that AI can take control of a pawn. One of them is whenever it's created, and the other is whenever the game starts. However, you have to tell the game specifically that it's capable of taking over a pawn whenever you spawn it in. And honestly, I don't know why, but that's just the way that it is. So I lied. It's not character movement. Click up here on parent ghost self. And on the right hand side, see where it says auto possess AI? Open this and do placed in world or spawned. Hit compile and save. Go to the security office. Hit play. And I bet that dude's moving. Where is he? Where is he? Hold on, these are security cameras. Where is he? We need access. There he is. Look, look. He's outside the door. Hold on, we got to exit the security camera. Oh, God, where is he? Why can't I see him? Interesting. He's got to be in like a really weird spot. Unless he's on this side. Is he on the side with the door? What the where is he? Oh, he broke. You know why he broke? Because I told you, remember, it's because it kept trying to add to the path array, but there wasn't any more to go. Let's watch again. Where you at? You going this way? Oh, he is. I see him. See, he's right there in the corner. He waits. And then he goes forward. And now he's outside the door. Awesome. Again, another heavy episode. And I hope you learned something. I hope you understand that mistakes happen. And I hope you don't hate me too much for having to rework a little bit of what you've done. But at the end of the day, I hope you learned something due to the mistakes. Due to the debugging, I'm going to end this episode here. I know you guys really probably wanted the ghost to interact with something as well, but don't worry, we're going to get to that. I'm sorry that the videos have been a little bit more delayed lately than normal, but it's because of the complexity of them. Again, if you'd like to support me in my free video series, a Patreon link will be down below. Like, comment, subscribe, dislike if you hated it, but at least let me know why, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.